Part of preservation is making sure we hold on to the past, that it doesn't die. And nothing hurts more than when the old neighborhood goes. Everyone's got their old neighborhood, the corner store, the old ball field, the place you hung out with your friends. America is all about neighborhoods, and that's why it's so important that we save them. The fight to save the old neighborhood is going on in Tampa, Florida, in a community called Ybor City. America's other city by the bay is Tampa. It is the second largest in Florida, and just outside the towering shadows of downtown Tampa is a former cigar factory town, Ybor City. Ybor City was America's cigar-making capital, a distinction its workers took seriously.
My grandfather Benjamin would wake up in the morning, have his Cuban coffee and Cuban bread, and off to work, and he would roll cigars all day. Like I say, they dressed to go to work. It was a real prestigious type of job. At that time, the tobacco was flowing in from Havana, and Ybor City was just an incredible place.
It was incredible for a while. But by the 1960s, automated factories put Ybor City's hand-rolling process out of business. The city seemed dead. Fortunately, residents refused to give up, and today they continue to fight.
Ybor City has really never died. It's always been in the hearts and minds of the people here. The restoration effort is to save the past, to remember the real reason that this is a historic district. The cigar workers' houses represent the cigar industry, the cigar workers' art, and the impetus, the economic impact that the cigar industry brought here.
The society is fighting to save Ybor City's original buildings, and the message is getting through. People like Manny Alvarez are restoring homes in Ybor's forgotten neighborhoods.
I was born and raised here in Ybor City, and the heritage to me is very important. I used to come here to my grandparents' house, and it was a close setting. Homes were next to each other. People would speak from porch to porch, and there was a uniqueness here that, well, you didn't find that in the suburbs.
Manny Alvarez restored the Capello Cottage, an original cigar maker's house, in one of the most rundown parts of Ybor City.
The place really looked like a shed. I knew that underneath all the alterations, there was this vintage little L-shaped cigar maker's house. I wanted to restore the first home in Ybor City and show everyone that these little cigar maker houses can be the most beautiful little house you ever seen. The house, the dog, the picket fence, it has it all. It's just great. I find it as a perfect...
Manny not only restores homes, he also sells them.
I think it's exactly what you're looking for, definitely. And we can close it in 30 days.
Manny is not just building homes for others. He has spent 4 years restoring his own home, the historic Lala house. It has taken so long because Manny makes sure the work is historically accurate.
I'm basically creating an art piece here. I am using a lot of historic items. I'm trying to put in the Spanish iron everywhere I can to make it feel very similar to the avenue. The main avenue has a lot of ornate iron trimmings on the buildings and stuff, so I want to carry that feel to the house. I want people to see myself when they come in here. I want them to see Ybor City when they come here.
While Manny Alvarez is restoring the district's homes, another local, Dr. Gus Jimenez, is bringing back Ybor's gardens. A retired school administrator, Jimenez now volunteers as director of Ybor City's botanical gardens.
What I like about these gardens, it reminds me of my youth. As kids, I used to be doing gardening work and swap cuttings with my neighbor who was working on the other side of the garden. You have to remember, Ybor City did not have money for formal gardens. The old Spaniard said, if you can't eat it, don't plant it. So evidently, we had a lot of fruit trees, vine trees, vines and so forth, but no flowers. One of the missions of this garden is to find those old plants that are no longer commercially viable, that are growing in abandoned homes or in corners of the town, bring them in here, keep them growing so that our kids can enjoy them 100 years from now like we did.
We all have this thing we want to hold on to as children of the immigrants and grandchildren of the immigrants. We want a piece of that culture and that rich heritage to live on through us and our children. And we want others to share it.
That rich heritage was once symbolized by the picket fence. During the neighborhood's glory years, yards in Ybor City had picket fences.
We were one of the first to put a picket fence up at one of the houses, and now we've got over 20, 30 properties in the area back here with picket fences. And I want them to see the picket fence, the bougainvillea, the porch swing. I want them to see the portrayal of what it was, again in living color, finished. My grandparents would be smiling. My grandfather would be very proud.
There are many people in Ybor City that are just as proud of what their community has become. Here's a riddle. What do you do when the community you live in becomes such a paradise the people who built it can't afford to live there? The Key to Key West next on Restore America.